G'day, it's Christine here from ChrisW Designs, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a double zipper overlay twin pocket. So this double zipper overlay pocket has two pockets, not just one. A cute little pocket down the bottom for your little bits and bobs, and a bigger pocket at the top. Two pockets. How cool is that? For more of my patterns, do hop over to www.chriswdesigns.com and www.chriswdesigns.com.au for the Aussie. Subscribe to my channel and click on the bell to be notified of any new releases as I add them. And for more different overlays, do pop over to my website and check out what I have. Subscribe to my newsletter, and when you do that, you'll get a nice little surprise in your inbox. We have a quick stitch easy tote pattern free of charge for you. And if you like this video, hit the like button. So let's get started. For our zipper overlays with the double zipper pocket, we need to cut our overlay piece. And for this one, I have chosen design 5 in the number 5 zipper. So I've cut mine from 4 and I've added HTV to the back. That's heat transfer vinyl onto the back of my cork. It just makes it a bit stiffer and easier to manage. You don't see it afterwards, so it doesn't matter what color it is. You can use vinyl, leather, cork, anything that doesn't fray for your overlay. You cannot use cottons because they fray, so these stick to something that doesn't fray. We need to cut some pocket pieces. The top pocket, I've cut them the same width as the top overlay piece, and the depth is just whatever depth you wish. Don't forget to add some seam allowance, 1 centimetre for the top and 1 centimetre for the bottom. And for your bottom zipper pocket pieces, we're talking 2 of each, like that. And interfacing I've already put on the back. And the bottom zipper needs to be the same width as the bottom part of the overlay. And those ones are the same in every design and size. The bottom pocket is always a 5-inch zipper, but the top zipper will vary depending on which design size you have chosen. So we need that, and of course a piece of lining to attach it to. I'm just using a piece that I've cut here just for this sample, and I'll use it in a bag at some other stage. And we need some zippers with a zipper pull on each, and the bottom one has the zipper cut to the same width as the bottom part of the overlay, and the top zipper is cut to the same width as the top overlay or your pocket pieces, like that. So that's all you need, and let's get started. So I have marked the position on my lining where I want to install my overlay, and I'm going to use some glue. This is a quick dry fabric glue, and I'm going to glue this down onto the lining. Never mind my scorch mark. That's because I like to just scorch the edges of the cork just to get rid of any fuzziness that might be there. You can use double-sided tape if you wish. And we're just going to run a bit of glue just around the middle there and down here. This is just to keep it in place while we stitch. This is a fast drying glue so that we can keep working pretty quickly. So I'm just going to line that up and drop it down. Make sure the edges are sitting right. Press. Now just give it a couple of minutes to dry. And then we are going to stitch all the way around the outer edge, not stitching around the zipper boxes. just around the outside edges. Okay, so now I'm going to be stitching with a stitch length of 3.4, and I'm going to stitch 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch approximately, from the edge of my overlay all the way around the outer edge. Now you can either pull your threads through to the back and knot off, or I'm just going to do a couple of stitches to lock it, whichever way you prefer. I'm just lazy. Back to the start. Like that. So now that we have attached our zipper overlay onto our lining around the outer edge, we need to make a hole in here, a stitch strip, and grab a scissors, and we're going to trim away this lining. Doesn't have to be neat because you're not going to see it, but you do need to make sure that you're not cutting your overlay underneath. So keep checking. There we have it, like that. So now we'll just set this overlay piece aside and work on our pockets. So I'll just grab the small pocket pieces for now and my short little zipper, double-sided tape, and just run some double-sided tape along the top edge. Like so. Retrieving one of your zipper pieces, we're going to place it wrong side down onto the top edge of the pocket and press in place to stick it down. Like so. Now we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the zipper tape. Okay, so I'm going to put my zipper foot on. Move my needle right over. I'm going to put my stitch length down to 2.4, and I'm going to stitch 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the zipper tape. So now we have stitched that zipper in place. We're just going to go over to the ironing board and press the fabric away from the zipper, like that. So now that I have pressed my fabric away from my zipper, just retrieve the second piece. I'm going to do the same thing again. We're going to attach the zipper to the second piece. Now it's right sides down. Press it firmly so it sticks in place. And now we're going to go over to the sewing machine and stitch again 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Okay, so now we're stitching 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch from the edge, stitch length of 2.4. And now we're going to go over to the ironing board and we're going to press the fabric away from the zipper like before. Now that we have pressed the fabric on both sides away from the zipper, we're just going to set that aside for the minute. And retrieve the large pocket pieces, one of, and run your tape across the top. Make sure you have it orientated the right way. Retrieve your zipper. And now we'll place that wrong side down onto the right side of the fabric. Lining up the edges, like so. And press to stick it in place. If it's crooked, just straighten that up. Like that. And now we're just going to go over to the sewing machine and stitch 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Hey, now, like before, we're stitching 6 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch from the edge with a stitch length of 2.4. Go over to the ironing board and press our fabric away from the zipper. And now that we have our fabric pressed away from the zipper like that, we need to retrieve our second piece and run the tape across the top. And now that we have both pieces with our fabric pressed away from our zipper, we'll set the big one aside. Retrieve your overlay attached to your lining, and we're just going to run some double-sided tape along the edge of this bottom window. And along the bottom edge. And do the same with the top window. Don't peel this one off yet. We're just going to do the bottom one first. But since you're sticking in place, you may as well do all of them ready. Like so. Like that. Now we're just going to peel this bottom one off. Like that. Retrieving your bottom pocket. Now, this is where you decide whether you want your pull opening from left to right or right to left. I'm putting mine like that on the left. I'm just going to line it up so the sides are level with the side edges of the pocket. And make sure they're even in that window. When you're happy that that is where you want it, you level and even, then I'm just going to put a pin in here where you can clip it, and the same here so that that bottom piece stays put like that. And we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to top stitch all the way around that bottom window. So retrieving our lining piece, we're going to top stitch all the way around this bottom window. You can either pull the threads through and knot them off, or you can do a couple of stitches to lock it like iron. And the stitch length is going to be 3.4. At this point, I like to go backwards and forwards a couple of times just to make that extra secure. Like that. Back to where you started. Just either follow it through or not at all. Or do a couple of stitches to lock it in place. Like that. Okay, so now that we have stitched around our bottom window, let's remove our pins, flip it over, and smooth the pocket pieces down. And I'll grab a pin again. Just going to pin the bottom here. And I'm just going to do a couple of pins at the sides too, just to hold it. Only the pocket piece. You don't want to pin your lining. Now just cut the bottom edges even. Like that. So now we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to flip it so that the right side is up. And we're going to stitch all the way around. And I'm going to put my stitch length down to 2.4. Retrieve my lining with the right side up. Just bend that back out of the way. And I'm just going to stitch it a seam allowance of 3/8 of a millimeter. So now that we have our bottom pocket stitched, I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to put a pin in there just to make sure it stays out of the way and doesn't end up in our stitching. So now what we need to do is pull the double-sided tape backing off, retrieve our pocket, and make sure you have your pulls opening the same direction. And I'm just lining that edge of the overlay up with the side edge of the pocket. Doing the same thing as before, to making sure that our zipper is centered in the middle of that overlay window. Now we're going to go back over to the sewing machine and stitch all the way around our top pocket window. Okay, so now that we have stitched all that, we need to remove our pin. Actually, we could leave that. Like that. So we're going to go over to the sewing machine, right sides up, and we're going to stitch all the way around our pocket, making sure we keep this lower pocket out of the way. And if you are wanting to turn your bag through your zipper pocket, you would leave this bottom edge open and turn up the seams by the seam allowance 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch, and press or use double-sided tape to hold it up. But I'm not going to be turning through this pocket, so I'm just going to stitch the whole pocket closed. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my regular thick back on, leading my needle back over to the centre, putting my stitch length back down to suit my jaw, and with my overlay pocket the lining right side up. Just going to bend that back out of the way, 1 centimetre thread left seam allowance. So there we have it. We have now got our double zipper pocket overlay done and dusted. 2 nice little pockets. This one is great for all your little bits and bobs. And a nice roomy top pocket. You could put your credit card slots from the other overlay set in there if you wanted to. That would be really cool. And there we have it. All done.